All right, thank you for staying with us. This is Monica Faye right at TV 47. So the independent petroleum dealers are up in arms, claiming that the taxman's move to increase the taxes on them might push them to close shop. Today, we discussed the bad blood between oil marketing companies, OMCs basically, and the over 800 independent petroleum dealers who command about half the market share. Joining us for that discussion is Joseph Karanja, the chair of the Kenya Independent Petroleum Dealers Association, that is KIPEDA, and Irene Kimathi, the chair of Mount Kenya Petroleum Dealers Association, that is KIPEDA basically. And yesterday night around 10 p.m, I've never really understood this, but why EPRA does this, release new fuel prices at around that particular time. But anyway, they dropped by 1 shilling. And this is a consecutive time again in when we were coming to October, they dropped again by 1 shilling. Let me start with you, Madam Irene. Why? What's the whole impact of this? Is this a whole meager relief fuel prices?
Yeah, it's a meager relief, but I think it is not only it's not EPRA that is doing it. It's depending on the international market.
Definitely.
So they cannot work outside how the international market is working. But basically, Kenyans are hardworking people. They will be able to survive these hard times.
All right.
Yeah.
And so what does this mean basically now for the common mwananchi who might be going to the pump right now and they're saying, all right, it's 1 shilling. What does it really mean for you as independent petroleum dealers?
Yeah, to me, I would just term it like a scapegoat or an excuse, because it does not really reflect how much it has gone down internationally. The prices have gone down, globally in a bigger margin. But what Kenya is doing is kind of just trying to, to give us some painkillers, just to soften us a bit. But those people who know or they follow what the global market is doing, we know that the prices ought to have gone down, at a bigger margin. But
by what margin, maybe?
About 10 shillings, 15 there. But the government, even by what you're asking for them to give us prices late at 10, it shows they had some challenges or whatever may have caused them. If they had an excuse to postpone it, they would have done so. But because it's the law, they have to give the prices on 14th, then they had to in whatever figure. So I think they just played with our minds, and we still feel like something more needs to be done.
And now still in news, whole levy and taxes. So yesterday, EPRA said that they will utilize the petroleum development levy to compensate oil marketing companies for the whole difference of cost. What implications might this have now on boiling down to over the 800 retailers, which involves basically you?
Now, what normally happens is that this idea of a subsidy basically involves the OMCs, the oil marketing companies who import, but then the costs or the implications, the subsidy is supposed to be covering the common user. But now when they say that they are using the petroleum development levy, and that is what they have always done, but we still see the OMCs complaining that they have not been paid their money. So I think this is just business jargon. They just want explain some things as the life at the ground is quite different.
Right.
Such that the Petroleum Development Levy is just one of the levies that every consumer is charged, and 8 more other levies which are not explained, such that the petroleum price so much is heavy, is being levied so much, such that it goes up, and they even find it hard to bring it down again.
All right. Madam Irene, do you agree this levy is too high from the taxman?
Yeah, we have so many levies and taxes that we pay on petroleum products. In fact, the levies and taxes take about a half of the cost that we pay for petroleum products. If they can be able to harmonize this, our cost will go down. On subsidies too, because our people have not been paid for several months, and this is really affecting their cash flow. And when you are giving subsidy, the business person is not giving the government money with interest. But if every money has interest, if you're paying the bank, or even if it is your money, it has to attract some interest. So now when the government keeps the money 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and our business is capital intensive, it is making it impossible for our business to run well. Why? Because the many players that would have brought the product, and then we would have the demand and supply working in the market, is not there. The big players are the ones that are at advantage because they have the money to bring in, and when we continue like this, it kills the industry slowly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. And also, EPRA mentioned that they will have this particular, the whole subsidies on basically kerosene to cushion the whole customer. What implications will this have on the customer and even the dealers?
On the customer, it's good. We would really encourage that the customer would be subsidized, because kerosene affects the very small person down there. It also affects the industry, the manufacturing industry and such. But also we would request that if the government is going to give subsidy, let them expedite the way they pay, or they increase the amount of money they pay, so that even if the business person has given them this loan, because it should be treated as a loan, he receives his money with interest, or he's paid speedily so that he can be able to turn over his money.
Right.
Yeah.
So if the parliament approves the whole cut on this is one particular proposal that was tabled at the parliament, to cut the whole margins, allowed the whole wholesaler, basically the capital investment, the retailer, which basically go 4 shillings per litre, so that they cut it down to 3 shillings per litre. What effect might this have?
You see, there's a whole confusion in this thing, because it appears there's a group of people who manages the prices and whatever. They work from their office rooms, but at the ground it's very different, because basically what happens is that the law as it is right now allows 12 shillings as the profit, and this is the law.
After summing up the whole...
Yes, the whole chain. These 12 shillings is divided into 3 different levels. There is that level of the importer. Now he's the wholesaler. He's allowed 3 shillings and 89 cents. That is about 4 shillings. And he can't get any more if he just deals with the wholesale, area. Then there is this investor who has built a petrol station and now is buying the liquid. He is allowed 4 shillings only. But because, again, he has built his petrol station using some, funding from somewhere else or whatever, and again, he has invested in that construction, that one is allowed 4 shillings. Now, the total sum is 12 shillings. Now, when they want to take this shilling, and you see, when you are dealing with products, and again, our system is not very good, because the people who import, the OMCs now, once they import the product and handle and manage it until it reaches at the depots here, they are allowed for those losses. They are given, spaces. They are allowed the price. The price build-up allows for some losses up to that level. Now, when the investor, the retailer, the dealer, picks the product, the same product, which has the same losses now at in the this stream now from the depot to the petrol station, is not allowed. What I want to say is that petroleum has a lot of losses along the way. Evaporation, there's temperature changes, condensation, whatever, spillage, whatever. Then you take another shilling from his profit. You are killing this person completely. And he's not free to adjust the prices. They are controlled. Such that now even what has been allowed lawfully, you are telling him, now we want to take another shilling. Leaving him to struggle with so many predicaments. You see, this petroleum is evaporating, depending on the geographical location. There is condensation, there is water, again, there is a lot of spillage. These machines are not 100% efficient.
Okay.
In fact,
he's been allowed 4 shillings only, and now you want to take another one. Now, you're just killing.
when you look at the level of inflation,
basically, as you also come in on that, the president wants to, rather directed the taxman to be more friendlier in how he collects taxes, and this will obviously affect how the taxman approaches the over 800 petroleum dealers. Even as you chime into what Karanj is saying, has this been? Have you basically seen this? Have you seen the taxman being friendly to you guys?
Yeah, the president, what he has said is very good for us business people. But it all boils down on the policies that we have and how the taxman has over time been used to do business. But before we go there, let me come back to the 3 shillings. You can imagine with the level of inflation that we have, we are talking about 4 shillings from 180, on the pump is 180. So you invest 180 shillings to get 4 shillings, then they reduce it. That one we are saying, please, we are even lobbying for them to increase our margins. Now let's come to what the president said, where with the bottom-up economy and what he wants to do with the people down there at the end of the chain. We are retailers. We are the people that take fuel to the people that are down there, to the very remote parts of the country. But then now, fuel being one of the sectors in this country that bring in a lot of money, the taxman has really focused on it. And I would want to say categorically that the taxman has not been friendly to us. One, when I talk to them, because I've been talking to them, they will be like, we are given targets. And when we are given targets, we have to get this money from somewhere. And where is this somewhere? Somewhere is from us. Now, we have no problem with paying the tax, but the way this tax is being collected from us, at the end of the day, you calculate what you're getting and you find you're working for the government, or sometimes what they are asking from you is something that you cannot earn. First of all, you have to pay, if you're a fuel dealer, we pay the 8% VAT. And in their formula of calculating how we get these margins, as he has said, in the wholesale segment, they give spillages, loss on transit, but on our side, they don't give anything. They just give you the 4 shillings. This is your margin. It's within these 4 shillings that you're going to remove the 8%. And the 8% is gross. It's gross of what you get between buying and selling. Remove 8%. At the end of the year, you're supposed to give 30% corporate tax, among other taxes that are hidden. Now, us as fuel dealers see this 8% as punitive and undoable. And this is the reason why most of us have demand letters. And when you look at it, let's say, for example, you are taking your fuel to Moyale. The only depot that is near to Moyale is Nairobi or Nakuru. You are carrying super petrol. Super will always go evaporating. First of all, by the time when you are buying it from the depot, most of the depots are not faithful. you've bought maybe 10,000 liters. You load 9,900. Carry it from here to Moyale, it is evaporating. Put it in the tank. There are losses on spillages, there are losses on the pipes, there are losses on the pump. Yeah.
But I'm being informed that we have an audio issue with your microphone. But then on that, before we actually correct that, Karanja, take us through the whole process of an independent retailer, from the point of purchase to the whole point of sale, even as you come into the whole the friendliness of the taxman so far.
Now, there is a big problem between our systems and the way they view the dealers, because the way she's trying to explain, if you invest now, if you buy 1,000 liters of super, you will buy at about 17,000 shillings, 18,000 shillings. From that 18,000 shillings, you will make 4,000 shillings. Is it 4,000 or 400? 4,000 shillings, because it is 4 shillings. Now, for you to make that 4 shillings, you have to be 100% efficient. And remember, the pump here is not efficient, 100% efficient. Transportation, you put that product in the tank, there is still, even if it doesn't spill down, the tank will remain with some fluid which was sold to you. If you look at the document, temperature changes, temperature differences from where you have loaded to where you have taken it, again will affect the volume. Such that what the people are working from their offices is quite different from what is happening. Now, before you even bring the product there, in order for you to acquire a license to do this business, you have 13 different documents to present, which all of them will cost you some money here and there, so that you compile them, you take them to get a license. You are, at the end of the year, again, you have to renew that one, and again, you still have to, manage your people, such that what the taxman is doing, I think he's just assuming so many things, and at the end of the day, he'll think that we are not willing, we are not complying, yet he doesn't have the facts at the ground. It is very unfortunate that some people have chosen just to work from their offices, very comfortable offices, and they don't know how much we are struggling. In fact, we are supposed to be supported. We are
on the whole now, support basically. Is state incentives, are they the basic solution? What are the solutions basically from the government in the whole spirit of as petroleum dealers being supported?
Now, when we come to the tax issues, I cannot say that we have seen any support. What we have seen is sabotage and being killed as an industry. I was talking about the 8% VAT, which we really want to say as retailers, it's not working well with us. One of the things about this VAT is that to be able to be eligible to pay VAT, you should make a turnover of 5 million per year. As a fuel dealer, if you have turned over 5 million per year, those are like 27,000 liters. Times 4 shillings, you've made like 9,000 shillings per month. And somebody who will earn that money in the rural areas, in the very remote areas, if they earn 10,000, 9,000, it's good money for them. But when you subject them to VAT, it's not really workable, because what he's getting is very minimum, but he's subjected to VAT. Right now, you're supposed to connect with Teams. The ETR that we are buying, ETR machine, is almost 50,000. Now imagine this person is buying an ETR machine of 50,000 and is earning 9,000 shillings per month. So what we want to say is that the taxman should understand our business. You find on assessment, the taxman will come to assess us about after 3, 4, 5. The maximum in our country is 7 years. You've been doing business, you've been doing your returns, you've been paying. After 4 years, 5 years, the taxman comes and says, I need your documents. And because our system is self-assessment, you have assessed yourself, you've paid, and then he comes and looks at your cash flows, and he's like, according to these cash flows, you cannot have been have paid this amount of money. For the last 6 months, except for the last 1 month, 6 months, we were not making any money at all. Those were the times that you would see queues and queues of vehicles waiting for one station, because the people that had fuel would not sell to us. They were selling to us above the pump price. And you remember, we are capped. So when this taxman comes after 4 years, he does not understand there was a time 6 months we were making losses. Then we will come and look at your cash flows, and you give them a markup. If you calculate 180 shillings and you're getting 4 shillings, that is a margin of about 0.05%. But you come and put a markup of 12 to 22%. And then from that markup, you say the money I want you to pay. Now, if it is VAT, 8% of this. And then if it is the one that you pay at the end of the year, 30% of the corporate tax. So this money is too much, such that you try even to imagine where you can get such kind of money, you don't know. And now the process of trying to convince them that you don't owe them is equally tedious. And it is emotionally draining. And that's the reason why most of the people in our industry today, they have hypertension, they have depression, they have heart diseases. Why? They got demand letters of money that they can never ever be able to pay. One of the things that we are saying, if KRA is serious to get money from us, let them have industry specific officers. Because you find officers are just sitting in the office on a seat that is rotating. What they just do is click in and see this is company A, this one and this amount of money. Company B, this amount of money. And the officer will say, I have this amount of demand letters. Why doesn't the government bring officers that can be on the ground? One, they teach us. They teach us what tax they want. Because you pay, you think that's what they want. But you don't know what they want. And one thing I've realized with taxman is that he's riding on the knowledge gap. Every Kenyan, including you, do you know how many taxes you pay? You don't know all of them.
Obviously don't.
The only one you know is the one you see pay as you earn, on your pay slip. Nothing else. And you pay so many. And the taxman is expecting me to pay money that I don't know how to pay. So when you try to ask them, they are like, if we teach you, you look for ways to evade. They fail to know, if they teach all of us how to pay, instead of few people shouldering the economy, many people will know what they should pay, and they will be paying. So we'll have a broad base of people that are paying tax. And there's nothing else as bad as not knowing what you owe. Yeah, you think I don't owe. You don't know how much you owe, and therefore you think you're good. When the taxman comes, is the time you realize, Allah, what I've been paying is not right. And also remember this, when you're doing corporate tax at the end of the year, because me, I'm a business person, most of the business people, especially in our industry, are people who finished school. They did not get a job, a formal job. They started a small business, they started making money, and that's how they have grown. They don't understand these tax calculations. So you look for an auditor. The auditor looks at your documents and tells you this amount of money you pay. And then after 5 years, the auditor finished. After 5 years, you're told this is not the right amount of money. Why doesn't the taxman have auditors that they can certify? When this auditor says your calculations are good, you've closed that topic, because a good tax system should be simple. It should be flexible. It should be certain. It should be something that you understand really what you're paying. And that is our pain. That's our pain.
Karenjo, when down deep into the rural areas, when those independent petroleum dealers down there, the grassroots levels, do they have this kind of education? Do they understand to avoid the whole exploitation from?
This is what we are complaining about. There is no tax education. In fact, if you just be sober, and the government becomes sober, to understand where did these people come from. These people are just survivors. they came, they were just looking for something to live on. Then they saw an opening, which is very viable. So they started these businesses slowly by slowly, and the business grew. But what they were looking for is something to eat, something to keep them alive and support their families. But then along the way, somewhere, because you are making some money, of course you are supposed to pay taxes. But nobody teaches you how to pay taxes and what it is all about. So they just, one time when the KRA people thinks of coming this direction, they come and they are coming like they are hunting. It's not to support, but they are looking for somebody to arrest. So they just come, they buy a liter of petrol, and then they tell you where is the ATR, and they start harassing people there. So it is about harassment. The attitude is not right.
At the end of the day,
at the ground,
where is the backstop for all this? Because the whole back and forth where does the backstop?
We want to personally. I want to appreciate the president because he's coming with new ideas, and show good visions. And I think if his team decides to change things, then there could be a change for a better future. Otherwise, if we continue just the way we are, and this is not the time when we were 15 million people, we are now almost 50 million people. Right. We cannot run things the way they used to be run those days when the people are 15 million.
All right.
Things have to change. Even in your own house, when your small children grow up, then you have to change the setting so that you accommodate even their age and their needs. This Kenya has grown. Now, because the government cannot employ everybody, and people are looking for ways to survive and to do business, then the government should be friendly to support those people who have the willingness to start these businesses. But when they come up now again with new regulations, adding more tough, laws to push people aside, no, it is not right. I think there is a need, and time has come for the government to relook at the policies working in these industries.
And speaking of matters, yesterday, during the vetting of a Principal Secretary nominee under the National Treasury, Dr. Chris Kipto, he said that we, quote unquote, we may look around the levies charged in full, but in the long term, as the rest of the world embraces green energy, we must reduce our over-reliance on fossil fuels. GOtv, do you agree with what, and even as you comment on what to expect from the PS nominee for Treasury, and even the vetting today for PS nominee for the State Departments for Petroleum and Energy? Do you think this is the way to go?
We always want to look forward. And as business people, a person, what I have is my money. Whether it is fossil fuel or green energy, something that I can sell to make money, for me it's good. What I would want to say for the PS, let him make sure that the bank rates are good, our environment of working is good, the tax man is not killing us. That is what concerns me as a business person. And at the end of the day, I'll pay my taxes and the government will move on, whether it's fossil fuel or green energy, whichever.
Basically, as dealers, do you have hopes? Such comments, with such comments, do you have do you foresee a light at the end of the tunnel?
In which sense? Light at the end of the tunnel concerning our business?
Yeah.
As I have said earlier, if it is fossil fuel, we'll move on. Whatever it will be, so long as I have the money that I can turn to profits, whatever it will be, and a conducive environment, whichever fuel we'll be using or energy is good.
As long as at the end of the day, a hot plate of ugali.
Yeah, it's what matters to me.
Still in the same.
I think there is a lot of high talk. You see, they talk very sophisticated ideas and language, but they have not even exhausted what we have. Because already what we have here, if it is properly and fully exploited, if our productivity at the space that we are in, even 80%, we would be doing very well. But now we are talking of beyond. We have not even, taken full advantage of what we have.
And the fuel, by the way, is not as expensive as it is. If the government would find a way of reducing the taxes and the levies, this fuel is not as expensive. And our economy is able to support it because Kenyans are hardworking. If the government would just do the right policies, it's not as expensive.
Then shifting away from the government, will you say that there's a bad blood between you as independent retailers and the whole, the independent, rather the all marketing companies?
No, there's no bad blood. What there is, this is business. Business is about competition, is about the strategies you come up with, is about the muzzle. The problem comes when the government does not support us, it supports the big marketing companies. Because you'll find sometimes when they are doing policies, they will not come down to us to hear our side of the story. And as you said earlier, we control over 50% of the market. So we cannot be ignored. We are big players in this industry. But most of the time they will sit down, listen to the big players and make policies. For example, there's a proposed bill by EPRA where the fines are just too hefty. The fines are just too hefty. You'll be told if a driver pulls on the road and a place that is not designated, is supposed to pay a fine of 1 million. And then you ask, what if the vehicle has a breakdown? What if the driver gets sick, he has a running stomach, and is not able to reach the designated area? And if it is a law, it is a law. How do you fine a driver 1 million shillings? How much money does he earn? So, you cannot find somebody something that he can never get. You want to take people to prison that have not done anything wrong. So most of the times you look at the government and the people that are making policies, you wonder where do they get these ideas. And our prayer today is that these people, before they make any policies, let them come and collect data from us. And then we also want to be incorporated in this board of EPRA, the Energy Regulatory Authority, because there's no independent person in that board. Whatever they will do scientific things, do benchmarking from other countries. They don't listen from us as that are on the ground and understand how things are going. Right. And that's a major problem we have in the market.
Previously, the whole association that you chair, it has accused giant multinational marketers basically of disregarding the whole regulations of the profit margins by introducing new charges that are not covered by the MLA, the whole marketing licensing agreements. Walk us through all this. Which particular the whole margins were they rather the regulations which were they introduced, and how has it affected?
As you know, in our industry, we are capped. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are regulated by EPRA. So we'll have a retail cap. That's why you see the prices in Nairobi are almost the same. You go anywhere in the country, the prices are almost the same. And this is what they announced on 14th. And then there's the wholesalers. So now you have capped me. You have said I should not sell beyond this. But now the wholesaler has no cap. So the wholesaler will sell as per, if there are not many players, the wholesaler will sell the way they want. And that's why we are seeing some of the policies that are done don't really consider us. Because like the time there were these subsidies and money was being held by the government, the small players, importers would not be able to bring fuel. The big importers, because they have the financial muscle, they took the opportunity and the advantage. And what did they do? They increased the prices. They started selling to us beyond even the pump price. And there's nobody else that is bringing, because they have the financial muscle. That's why you find these big companies, the last quarter, they made supernormal profits, and it was published in the magazines. For us independent dealers, so many have closed during that season, because basically we are not making any money. The money that we are making was eaten by the big market dealers. So we don't have bad blood. It's our government that should protect us, because that's the work of the government, protecting its people. And we have no problem with multinationals. But we want to tell our government also, we want to also to become multinationals. I want my company to be seen in America, in Uganda, in Tanzania. And if they don't grow us, how are we going to grow? So that's the problem we have.
All right. Karenja, still I'll pose the same on you. The bad blood, is there any bad blood?
You see, when I'll give you a good example where it appears like we have bad blood, but we are not. Now, if we come from the same village, and one person is driving, and the government makes the road, but this other person is just, walking or using a bicycle. And he has to go through some shortcuts and cross the bridge somewhere. But the government prepares the government makes the bridge for this person who is driving, and the one who is driving is heard by the government. He complains about some potholes. The government hears about that one. He complains about the crossing the river. The government sets a bridge. But this other person who is cycling and going through some, nobody is listening to him. He has to struggle his own. You cannot expect a fair, share or these people to be the same. Of course, one of them will be working over. The multinationals have systems imported and, very sophisticated. The systems are working for them. But for us, we are trying to use anything that we have. We are trying to use neighbors, friends, who have gone through school or something, but it's still not working. So one of them will be seen like the smart, good boy, but this other one, despite his energies or his efforts to work very hard, will be seen like just wasting and disturbing the system. We are asking the government to levelize the ground. Let them calm down, see what we are doing, understand our situation, so that they see how they will help us, achieve. We are like, sometimes I look like the multinational, in receiving just 10,000 liters, they will get about 90, 95, 99% of the targeted profit. But the independent will just make about 40 or 60% of the intended profit, such that this one will continue growing, and this one will be finding it very hard. It is about the system, because the government has allowed independents to work. They should know where these people are coming from and their position and what should be done to help them.
Right.
Otherwise, between us, we are doing the same business, and we thank them. They support us because we have not been able to import our own, so we depend on them. But again, the system should allow, should help us work together with them.
On the other hand, also remember that the multinationals will not want to invest in the very rural areas, because of the cost that they will use to put up. But you will find the requirements that we need to put up so that you can have a petrol station, they are too high, such that in the very remote areas it is difficult to put up such a thing. And when you put very stringent rules, you make a room for corruption, because if there is demand, people still want to sell. And how are they going to sell? They are going to make sure that they turn some money so that they can be able to survive. Or there is a rise of the black market. That's where you find your uncle, your aunt in the rural areas is selling petrol from the house. And the other day you hear the house has burnt. So these things the government should consider when they are putting the regulations and the licenses, they put the requirements. They should also understand that that market in the rural areas that the multinational cannot arrive to. And if you have to travel like 100 kilometers to go and get fuel, it is slowing our economy down. The person that is down in the rural areas bringing the fuel closer to the client is making the economy run smoothly for that person down on the ground. And the government in turn is making more taxes.
Right. And, the whole resellers, walk us through all that, where the whole role of resellers, and if they are also taxed more, how does this again now boil down and affect independent retailers?
Resellers, we have people that we call resellers. These resellers are people that have accounts in the big companies, and they can be able to access fuel from the big companies in the depot and sell to somebody who cannot be able, because in the depot the minimum tanker you can take there is 10,000. They will sell to the one that needs 500 liters, 1,000 liters, or they will buy for someone and make 20 cents per liter. Now the problem comes at the end of the year. The turnover of this man is too much. If he was buying 10,000 liters, he was making 2,000 shillings. You do the small things of paying here and here, you remain maybe with 1,000 shillings. But he has turned over 10 tankers times 1.8 million. That's a lot of money. But you find that when the taxman comes to assess, you look at the cash flow, and this is what we are saying is very draconian, that the taxman will tax you and assess you as per your cash flows. So you can imagine from 1.7 million, you've made 1,000 shillings, and then the taxman will come and say there's nothing like a reseller, and put the markup that I told you about of 12%, and you are making 1,000 shillings. This is what is killing our people. That's why we are saying we need industry-specific tax people. And when we talk about tax education, the taxman will call us for a meeting, talk to us in the same place, and say, now you have been taught. But at the end of the day, you have not learned anything, because our level of assimilating things is not the same. So the reseller is so disadvantaged, and it really helps in the market chain. If I'm somebody in the rural areas, I don't know company A, company B, I cannot feel safe to pay my 100,000 to that company waiting for them to bring my product. But maybe I know Mr. Karanja. I know Karanja will buy the fuel for me, and if my money gets lost, I'll chase Mr. Karanja. So these are the dynamics.
Still on the whole education he was talking about, the whole education on grassroots level.
Yeah, education, and you know, really, I'm asking like this. It's a business, like I have my business, the business of the government to collect taxes. And when you look at it, there are so many people who don't pay taxes. They'll hide their money under the mattress, yeah? And we have so many graduates who have done accounts, who have done finance. They have no jobs. We are saying there are no jobs. If you can employ one graduate, and then he's able to collect 1 million shillings per month, you pay him 60,000 shillings. For me, that is called business sense. The government makes money, and we are all at ease doing this. We have lay people like agriculture officers, we have health officers on the ground. Why don't we have tax officers? We will be able to come and show me. They will also be able to understand how the market is going. They will be able to know how many petrol stations are there, and this will reduce corruption in KRI, because that knowledge gap is giving us so much trouble, such that when you try to ask, then what am I supposed to pay? See that officer. You go to the auditor. What am I supposed to say to pay? You need to see the official. It's just bad on the ground. Right. Thank God you're not a business person. It's just bad.
Probably I am, and the whole away from here.
Maybe.
You may never know. So at the end of the day, what the mandate of the parliament and the legislators, what do they really need? Because this is something, and you know, it's on the House, and they're definitely going to be debating about all this. What is their mandate on this?
You know, I'm imagining 2 houses here. One house is fully equipped with some microwave, you know, a fridge. It has a warmer, and you know, and fan, you know, just to keep everything. Then we take this setting to somebody to formulate some policies. Then on the other side, we have somebody who doesn't have all these. He has to go fetch for, you know, firewood, water, those, and then we want to treat these people the same. Now, when the government, I was bringing that because of the tax education. Now, if the teacher or the person now to explain to us, you know, government policies based on this sophisticated living kind of, then he tells somebody from those small houses, this is what you're going to do. You wake up, the condition will be like this. And this man does not even understand what a microwave is or how it works. Because what is happening with the government is that the policies that they are running this industry with were adapted from the multinationals who have, their very high kind of standards and systems to work with, which is directly opposite from the others. Now, I think the government should just brave itself and just put everything else aside, come to the ground and understand us. About the resellers, now a reseller makes 2,000 shillings from an investment of about 1.8 million. Now, when the taxman comes, he tells you, no, you paid 1.8. And he's assuming that by investing 1.8 million, you made maybe 100,000. Yet this person just made 2,000 shillings, which may even have gotten finished there, just trying to push the trucks for them to load. It doesn't work. The people in our offices, upper offices, don't know what is happening at the ground. It is very unfortunate. They will just use money trying to push for money which is never there, and they'll never get it. If they want to lock everybody, they'll lock them in, but they cannot. And until such a time, they will send those officers, the field people, to come and understand what we are doing. Otherwise, if we continue the way we are just leading nowhere.
All right, I'll have to take your final words on all these particular matters.
Now, about the parliamentarians, if they would put the same effort they put in voter education, on tax education, we would have more money easily paid by people that are not stressed when they are doing business. Now, figure this. About the 8% that we are really saying as retailers we don't want it. A requirement of the 8%, the VAT, is that you should give a receipt at the point of sale. When somebody buys, you need to give them a receipt. And remember, we are talking about a margin of 4 shillings. Then a motorbike guy comes, he is buying 30 shillings. There is a line of about 10 people. You have to have somebody that is issuing a receipt. What is the percentage of 4 shillings from 30 shillings if 180 you are making 4 shillings, 1 liter? 30 shillings is 0.0 something. Then you give an ETR. It does not make any business sense. And now you don't give because they don't use it. There will be papers strewn all over. It's just so expensive. But do you know what? We have demand letters. And for failing to issue an ETR, you can pay up to ETR receipt. You can pay up to 1 million shillings. So you pay fines that you don't know how you can run away from. And when you talk to the officer, he'll tell you it's according to the law. So the parliament should relook these policies and make friendly policies. When they go to parliament, let them remember they are our brothers and our sisters. We took them there to make right policies for us. That's our request. And in the all, we want to say this, as being a business person is not easy. Not everybody can turn money to have profit. And therefore, the government should tap on the resource of these business people by doing what? Giving them a conducive working ground. And according to our president, who we voted for because of the bottom-up economy, we said we are at the bottom. We want to be lifted, not by being given money, although that is part of the plan, but by good policies and good working environment.
Right.
Yeah.
So your parting shots.
I just want to support what Madam Irene is saying, because it is very serious. Kenyan people are very, very active, and they are fast, and they are, sharp. But if you don't give them the space, they still look for other ways to do things. But if you support them, like now, if you reduce the taxes, you remove them, let this fuel go and support production out there. Right. Then tax the produce. Then you'll have made more money, other than strangling somebody. You are telling people you can't do that.
Okay.
Today, if they come to me and I'll just simply tell them, I'm not working, I'm closing this one down.
In fact, we are telling them we are closing.
I'm closing down.
Thank you, Irene and Krenza, thank you all for that.